Hey, so to whoever's listening to this, I'm Jordan Guggenheim. I'm wrapping up my college adventure with a study abroad in Bonn, Germany. The purpose of this video is to go over my trip and how I've been changed by it. Let's start off with what I was thinking before the trip. Before this study abroad, the only international traveling was to Mexico, which shouldn't even be considered international considering we are connected to it. But anyways, when I was going concerned about the language barrier. I grew up with my stepdad being from Iran, so being around people from other countries was not a worry, just not being able to truly communicate was what I was worried about. But for being here for almost 5 weeks, what I can say is the language barrier hasn't been that bad of a problem, for English is heavily used in Europe. I knew this before, but just assumed the worst. Moving on, the best aspect of this trip has been the freedom from the car. I don't have to worry about traffic or about any of the in between from point A to point B. I just put my headphones on, open my book, and boom, I'm where I need to be. Now, the aspect of living here that has taken some adjustment time is living with my host family. They're wonderful people, it's not a problem, it's just having to go by their time of when to eat. Back home, my diet is very fixed, and living here, I have had to take a step back, and for the most part, they have made me some wonderful meals. Now, moving on from my life in Europe, let's shift our focus to their use of sustainability. I'm going to first talk about one of the coolest flood control implementations I have ever seen. This is more on resilience than sustainability, but ever more, I want to introduce the Maastricht barrier in Rotterdam, Netherlands. This thing is massive. This would benefit Texas, especially Houston area, very greatly when hurricanes or bad weather hits. This also paired with their nationwide networks of pumping stations, which if the Netherlands didn't have, they would be under 3 feet of water, according to the handout provided by AAB. So it's easy to see that all these ideas we could implement into the Houston area to deal with the problematic flooding issue. Now, one problem with this implementation is that the barrier couldn't withstand the power of the hurricanes we experience in Texas, so it would have to be critiqued to fit our criteria. However, we could venture more into figuring out how to implement a network of pumping stations. Another sustainable practice we could utilize are green roofs and permeable surfaces. Disregarding the benefits, it's just more pleasing to the eye. The benefits are that of one, stormwater management. These green roofs we have seen in every excursion we have done. Every single implementation helps mitigate the urban heat island, reduce noise and air pollution, and lastly, increase longevity of roofing membranes. All these benefits are cool and all, but the largest aspect that stands out to me when thinking about the Houston area is that these roofs has been shown to retain 60 to 100% of the stormwater they receive according to Michigan State University, therefore helping against the flooding issue we see in Houston. All of these actions we have learned in the last 5 weeks have shifted my mind and what I want to do as a career. I know for the longest time I wanted to be part of a design team to design sustainable housing, but for the most part, all these ideas have been revolutionized. I'll throw some green roofs on my buildings and maybe even keep as many of my surfaces permeable. And for that, thank you for listening.